So Sonic Frontiers was finally announced a few days ago now. And there has been a lot of hype on the internet for this game, skepticism, and of course, the Sonic fans' defining trait, discourse. A lot of the discourse I've seen about Sonic Frontiers has been surrounding the way the game looks and its potential inspirations. As we know, Sonic Frontiers is an open world game or open zone game as Sega themselves described it. And I myself cannot lie, the game looks very Breath of the Wild inspired. And I love open world games myself. Some of the most recent ones I played is Ghost of Tsushima and currently playing Assassin's Creed. Obviously Breath of the Wild did not invent the genre, but Nintendo just created an open world game of a very high caliber. And many open world games these days are being inspired by that game. It's actually quite wild how fast developers got inspired off of a game that only released 4 years ago now. And now with the sequel on its way, it's probably bound to do the same thing over again, especially if it lives up to the original and surpasses it. Sonic Team has been known to take inspiration from the current trends to try to keep up the times for Sonic, and it's evident that they still are trying to do that. One of the most popular games in years has been Breath of the Wild, and I'm surprised that we didn't see this coming sooner for Sonic Team. It doesn't hurt to mention that so many Sonic fans try the open world formula kind of like Sonic Utopia, and Sega does take note of Sonic fan games and they actually play them as well. They probably thought that this was the best route to go with Sonic next. What Sonic Team probably didn't anticipate is for the thing they seem to be heavily inspired by is dropping their sequel in the same year, likely only in a few months or even weeks apart from their own game. Breath of the Wild 2 will likely be a masterpiece as it is looking like it is built off the first game but with more stuff added. Sonic Frontiers on the other hand, people are indeed hyped, but many are cautiously optimistic and are hoping for the game to be amazing rather than expecting it to be amazing. Frontiers does not have the luxury to have as many people on board at the moment as Zelda does. Frontiers and Breath of the Wild will be compared heavily, whether Frontiers is good or bad. Sonic fans will probably get clowned on hard if the game is bad. Another scenario is if Breath of the Wild 2 is likely to drop before Frontiers, people will play that and then move on to Frontiers and likely feel a downgrade. Frontiers needs to provide that much more of a unique experience instead of feeling like a generic open world game. Sonic needs to do what Sonic does best: speed and momentum based physics. Create an open world that only Sonic could traverse through and a character like Link couldn't. The internet has a hard time with the coexistence of two things that share similarities, and then Discord breaks out about it. So all of this is likely to happen regardless. But not only is Breath of the Wild going to be on the shelf next to Frontiers, recently there was a leak about an upcoming Mario game which came from a Sonic Frontiers leak surprisingly, and this dates back to 2019. This leak covered a survey Sega had done for game concepts, which included a game that described Sonic Frontiers perfectly, and it even name-dropped Starfall Island, which is the name of the islands that Sonic will be running through in Sonic Frontiers. It's very oddly specific, which points to it being real if I'm being honest, and it being as far back as 2 years ago fuels its credibility in a lot of eyes. But this person who leaked this also said they had done the same thing for Nintendo, and Odyssey 2 was leaked from this person, and they posted a screenshot of it as well. If Mario Odyssey has been in development as far back as 2 years ago, it could be likely that this game releases in 2022 as well, and then get announced early 2022 and then released later in the year or early 2023. This would be Nintendo essentially creating a repeat or sequel to 2017 when they dropped Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild in the same year. And you know what else released that year from Sega? Sonic Forces. And Forces, although nothing like Mario Odyssey, was compared to it quite heavily in terms of it just being a low quality game, where Mario Odyssey was being considered a masterpiece. Sonic will likely this time have to compete with both games at once, because Sonic is borrowing concepts from Zelda, and Mario and Sonic have just been fighting since the 90s. Sonic Frontiers has some big competition ahead of it when it comes to debates of subjectivity, comparisons, and even review scores, so Sonic has a lot to deal with. And as always, I want to see Sonic do well and stand next to these games as something successful rather than another failure to write down in the books. And again, I think they can achieve this by creating a unique open world for Sonic to move in and just having an all-around unique concept of the game so it doesn't feel so basic, because what makes open worlds really unique is the unique stuff itself rather than copying a formula. I only have some slight expectations for the game, like for the story, because I know Ian Flynn is going to be the head writer of the game. And we know one of the head producers of the game created Chow Garden and has had some other great feats in the Sonic franchise. The other director, on the other hand, created Lost World and was the lead director of Black Knight, Secret Rings, and even Forces. That isn't really great to hear, but it seems like there's a mixture of people. I don't have my hopes up for that much, but there's some people that I do have my hopes up for this game. So hopefully they all come together and work together to make a great game regardless. But those are my quick thoughts on Sonic's competition for 2022. I think it's going to be interesting. Let me know in the comments below. I mean, to some people, none of this may not matter and you just want to play a good game, but to some, this does matter. So I just wanted to share my thoughts on it. Personally, it doesn't matter that much to me. If I enjoy the game, I'm going to enjoy the game. But if you guys like this video, hit the like button. No point in disliking because you're not going to see it anyways because YouTube took that away. So why don't you hit that subscribe button while you're here anyways as well. And of course, I'll see you guys in the next one.